What's up, everybody? Welcome into Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. It's our Friday tradition, back on Fridays. Late night last night at the Enterprise Center, and I don't know if it was unexpected or not. I mean, certainly not unexpected that the Blues won at home. I mean, after all, they've won 13 consecutive home games. I mean, they feel good about themselves on home ice, but how it happened? Nobody saw that coming. 7-2, the final. Pavel Buchnevich, the number 2 star, he gets a hat trick, 4-point night, and he's not even the number 1 star. So that tells you what kind of night it was for the Blues. Cam Fowler was spectacular. We'll talk about him throughout the show today. He had 5 points in the game. Only a handful of players in Blues history have had 5-point games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm going to give you this entire list because it's such a impressive list. Jeff Courtnall is the only Blues player in franchise history to have a 6-point night in the playoffs. Greg Paslowski, that is. Great player. Used to love watching him shoot the puck. Hope he's watching the show. Peter Zezel, Joey Mullen, Bernie Federico, Doug Gilmour, all 5-point games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And now add Cam Fowler to the list to join Gilmour, Federico, Mullen, Zezel, Courtnall, Paslowski. You kidding me? It's a good list to be on. It helps when you get 3 points in the first period. Both Buchnevich and Fowler both did that. Really impressive goals. I mean, the first goal by Buchnevich was just a pure example of just skill, to be able to kick the puck from your skate, get a stick on it, because if he didn't get a stick on it, I don't think the goal would have counted. They probably would have said it was a kicking motion, and they would have disallowed the goal. So that was amazing. The high tip on the power play from Robert Thomas, who also had a 4-point game. I mean, when you have 4 assists in a game and no one's really even talking about it, I mean, that's the type of game it was for the Blues, where Robert Thomas was sensational. 4 assists in the game, including the one I'm talking about on the power play, Buchnevich, the high tip. And it's always interesting because these guys watch so much hockey. They study the game. They study other players. And Robert Thomas talking about after the game how they saw Tavares do the same thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they pretty much saw what they did and said, hey, we should do it. And Tavares didn't even score on his. He ended up getting the rebound, and he scored off the rebound, and it was a hell of a deflection. But Buchnevich was able to get it past Connor Hellebuyck, who I've been telling you. I mean, listen, I know Hellebuck's a great goalie. We're going to talk about it throughout the course of the show, and everyone's going to talk about how deep he plays in the net and the fact that he can't handle the puck. So I keep hearing about all these flaws, yet he's the greatest goaltender in the league today. How can that be? And you look at the numbers, I mean, he's got everything to support his case as being the best goaltender. And this guy's going to win the Hart Trophy this year. You know, we had Mike Johnson on the Cam Strick podcast, and he brought that up. He says he's not just going to win the Vezina, he's going to win the Hart. And maybe in terms of, you didn't have that 150-point guy this year. And, you didn't have McDavid going crazy because he was injured. Kucherov's numbers, while being great, not as high as they were a year ago. McKinnon, same thing. So I guess you're left with Connor Hellebuyck. Although Kent McCarr got 30 goals. I don't know. So Hellebuck's the MVP of the league. But he can never get it done in the playoffs. And maybe this year will be different. I do feel different about this Winnipeg Jets team after the first 2 games. They play so organized. I think that's the best way to describe the Winnipeg Jets, is how organized they play. People use the term structure and how they don't beat themselves and all that type of stuff, but they're just organized. So what's the best way to beat an organized team? It's probably what the Blues did last night, and that's to create chaos all over the ice. I mean, physicality, throwing everything at the net, getting traffic in front. Over like 130 combined hits in last night's game? I mean, something crazy. This series is just so different than the other series you're seeing. And there's other series that are physical, don't get me wrong. But this one is just taking things to a completely different level in terms of the physicality. A lot of chirping going on. I do like the fact that Luke and Braden Shen are going at it a little bit. I know they're brothers, but that's kind of like the Sutter way. They would never put their family bond ahead of the team or ahead of what's most important, which is winning this playoff series and obviously winning the game that's at hand. Doesn't mean you don't love your family. It doesn't mean that when the game is over, you don't become best friends again and you're not close and you're not hanging out in the summertime and doing everything that families do together. But when the game is on the line and you're the captain of the team, you can't worry about your brother being on the other side. Total hits last night. One team had 68, the other team had 63. Do the math for me, Aiden, will you? 68 plus 63? That's 33 hits? 123? 1, 3, 1. 131. 131 hits last night. Blues had 68. I'm sorry, Winnipeg had 68. In terms of the hit leaders, if you're just curious, and I don't typically get all that caught up in hits. Buchnevich had 6. Tucker had 6. Good to see Tucker back in the game. Sundqvist 6. Neighbors 9. I just love playoff hockey, man. There's nothing like it. Walker was 7. He was top 10 in the league in hits this year. Torpchenko, good to see him get on the board. He had 5 hits. Shen had just 2 hits, which I'm okay with. You can't chase hits, can't run around, especially when you're a top 6 player. You got to be focused on making plays and trying to contribute both offensively and defensively. But I thought the Blues created enough chaos to take an organized team like Winnipeg and make them look disorganized, if that makes sense. And Hellebuyck, listen, I know how great he is, like I was saying, but, you can't confuse his greatness and where he stands among current goaltenders, like he's Dominic Hasek or even Marty Brodeur or Patrick Waugh. Like, he's none of these guys. Eddie Belfour, he's just a really good goaltender in the modern era. But he does play deep, and he can't handle the puck, which is just absurd to me when you consider how trained these goaltenders are at a very young age when they come into the league, when they begin their professional career. He went to college. I mean, usually they just develop those puck skills through their training. Kids can handle the puck who play goalie nowadays. And for him to struggle as much as he does, but still rely on his puck handling and leaving the crease and playing the puck as much as he does, it makes no sense to me. I just wonder what the coaching staff and what the players are saying there in Winnipeg in terms of their conversations with Hellebuyck. Stay in the net. Every team I was ever on or a part of coaching, how many times do you tell the goalie, stay in the net? Unless you're Jordan Binnington and you're basically a third defenseman back there, like a Marty Brodeur was, like a Marty Turco was, like a Ben Bishop was. But Connor Hellebuyck is not. And I know he's great, and he had 8 shutouts in the regular season. He had the .925 save percentage. I mean, everything, the 47 wins. He's unreal. But the team is really good as well. And I just don't know how you can stake your claim as a generational goaltender. And he certainly has the hardware to prove that he is. I mean, if you win a Hart Trophy as a goalie and you have 3 Vezina trophies, and he's certainly in line to get more Vezinas. I mean, how many is he going to end up with? You would qualify as a generational goaltender, as one of the all-time greats. I mean, he is building a Hall of Fame career. But goaltending is different to me. It's not a player who, puts up 600 goals and you say, wow, this guy is a Hall of Fame player. And you're not focused just solely on the team success and whether or not that player won a Stanley Cup or how far they went into the playoffs or how much playoff success they had. Goaltender's different. I mean, goaltending to me, in terms of greatness, has to be defined by championships and playoff success. And until Hellebuyck starts having that, then I just can't put him in the same category as some of the all-time great goaltenders in the history of the game. And this series is far from over. They still obviously lead the series 2-1. Some players believe that the third game, when you're the home team for the first 2 games and you win both games, that you do have the tendency to take your foot off the gas or let up a little bit in that third game, that first game on the road. So if that's true, then maybe that was the case last night. Probably a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but different to lose 7-2, knowing you were going to lose the game early in the game, being down 3-0 early in the game. And what was it, 3-0 going into the third period? Versus giving up a late goal in a tie game or losing in overtime. Like Ottawa's lost 2 consecutive games in overtime against Toronto. That's got to be difficult to overcome when you're right there and you just can't get it done. Carlo Colaiacovo is going to join me from TSN up in Canada. Obviously a long-time NHL defenseman, played a long time here in St. Louis with the Blues, doing great work up there in Toronto, both on radio and TV. So I'm curious his take on Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, you just have to get it done in the playoffs at some point. But like I said, the series is far from over. Winnipeg's going to look like an organized team on Sunday. They'll make the necessary adjustments. That'll be a more difficult game. 12 o'clock local time start. So no morning skate. You basically wake up, you go straight to the rink, and it's game time almost right away. Last night, obviously, much different story. An 8:50 p.m. local time start. Don't get me started with those. I mean, you just got to be kidding me. Even people who live here in St. Louis couldn't stay up and watch the game. You think Cam Jansen stayed up and watched the game? There's no chance he could stay awake and watch the game. My wife fell asleep in the third period. She ended up waking up before the end of the game, but she fell asleep, man. It's tough. But people who have long days and they're up early and they have a full day that they put in every day, the schedule is just not catering to those people. And for a lot of those people, those are their real fans. But getting back to Cam Fowler, man, I loved his goal. Started behind his own net, makes the play, uses his skating ability. I always tell this to young defensemen and any parents out there who are listening. It's, all these young defensemen who can skate, they don't want to move the puck, and they just want to try to go end to end, and they don't understand the concept of moving it and then jumping up ice and getting the puck back. Finding the hole, slashing through the hole, and receiving the puck back in a scoring situation. And that's what happened with Cam Fowler last night. Such a smart player. And I don't know. Everyone's probably thinking it right now. What the hell was Anaheim thinking? I mean, I get it. They're in a different situation. His contract's up after another year. Maybe he's not in their plans to stay there. Maybe he didn't even want to stay there, even though he had been there his entire career. I haven't asked him that question, but he obviously had to waive his no trade to come to St. Louis. May have been a no move, but he waived it to come to St. Louis. He wanted to come here. So those of you who are out there saying, how could Winnipeg let this fall through the cracks? How could they not go out and get Cam Fowler? Well, he would have had to waive. And he had a baby on the way. His wife was pregnant. They now have had the baby. But I don't think he probably would have waived it to go to Edmonton. Probably wasn't in the cards for the Fowler family. Got to catch up with his parents, though, prior to the game yesterday. They're raving about St. Louis. He loves it here. And listen, he is a veteran guy. He's put himself in a great spot. I think some guys, when you stay in one place your entire career and then you go to the next place and you're comfortable, I think you got to be careful chasing a contract or chasing the money. When you're in a comfortable spot, you're basically playing with house money. You're going to get paid regardless. He's played over 1,000 games in the league. He's got a big role. If you look at the Blues depth chart in terms of prospects, there's nobody really on the way that is going to take his spot. I mean, they took a first rounder last year in Adam Jiricek. He's been hurt. So I don't know how quickly he's going to get here. The Ralph kid who plays at St. Cloud, he's not knocking on the door to get to the NHL within the next year or two, most likely. Even though he's a big guy, who knows, man? Physically, he could handle it. Lucas Fisher, not coming in to take Cam Fowler's spot anytime soon, but he will play in the NHL. Theo Lindstein, the Swede, who they took in the first round a couple of years ago. He's a player, and he will get here. I would think that he's going to come over and play in the American League before he finds his way to the NHL, but that guy's going to be an NHL player, so he's going to factor into the future. They've got some defensemen coming, but what I'm getting at is Cam Fowler's got a role, and if he were to sign for another 3 years, I don't see much changing over the course of the next 3 years. Interesting coaching decision to go back to 6 defensemen and sit Ryan Suter. I didn't have a problem with that at all. I'm not a huge fan. I didn't like the way the Blues looked rolling out 7D. There's obviously not a lot of confidence right now in their 12th forward until last night when Alexander Texier comes in and gives them a great game. I mean, the question is with Texier is, can he sustain it? I think that's the biggest question. Everyone knows he's got talent. Everyone knows he's got ability. No points last night. Did have a couple of shots on goal, had 4 hits, but he just makes good plays. He's got a strong stick, good speed, can make plays defensively. On the right side of the puck, he just knows how to play. And for him to play his first game since late March, I mean, every time he comes into the lineup, it's like after like a lengthy time away from the ice, and he comes back and looks comfortable. I really like Texier's game. He's like the most impressive practice player that the Blues have. And we have seen it translate into games as well, where he scored some goals down the stretch. You look at his last couple of games that he played. He had 2 goals in his last 3 games that he played, but he hadn't played since March 27th, prior to last night's game. So give him credit. I spent some time with him during the Frozen Four. Saw him at one of the games. He's a really good guy, man. He's just different. Comes from France, different upbringing, different path to getting to the NHL, certainly than just about every other player. It's like Nathan Walker could probably relate to that. Growing up in Australia, it's different than like what you would find for a player that would take a traditional path to getting to the NHL. But I don't mind Texier. But you went with 7D in game 2. It just had everybody all out of sorts. And as much as you want to give your forwards more ice time, and I get that, you are cutting into the ice time of your defenseman. I think they're easing Parayko into it, and maybe last night's score led to him only playing 20 minutes. He only had 19:59 in the game before that, but again, you had 7D in the lineup. But traditionally, you're going to see Parayko, especially in a playoff game, he's going to hover around 22, 23 minutes minimum. Usually, you would think if he's fully ready to go and healthy. But he looks good. Scored a goal last night. I thought Parayko had way more jump, way more confidence in his game than what he had displayed in the first 2 games where he was not on his game. Last night he was. He was skating right off the bat. He looked like the Parayko that we're used to seeing. Broberg too. Broberg got back to skating. I talked to him about that yesterday morning. Just getting that mentality back. Using his feet, his legs, to be a difference maker, to impact the game, both ends of the ice. He can do that. Suter, listen, I think Ryan Suter has given you everything he's had. I watch him play, and he does look like maybe he's running out of gas a little bit. And at the very least, this rest is going to help him. If the Blues win this series and they have an extended run, they're going to have to turn back to him at some time, most likely. So let him get some rest. I think there are some bonuses that are included in his contract in terms of how many playoff games he plays. Something like 50% of the playoff games. I got to go back and look at it. But that's not important right now. You want to put your best lineup on the ice. Tucker deserves to play. They extended him. He's going to be a top 6 defenseman here for the next few years, or in your top 6. Get Tucker some playoff experience. Suter looked like he ran out of gas. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little bit surprised that Suter didn't sit sooner. Like, he never sat in the regular season. And, maybe there's some respect there, and he's got that consecutive game streak going and all of that. I mean, he's played over 1,500 games. I'm not so sure how important that is. But I think if you sit him a couple of times during the regular season, then when you sit him now, it's not as big of a deal. I guarantee you he wasn't very happy about it. But it's all about the team. As Craig Berube always says, it's about the team, especially this time of year. Coaches can't care, man. They can't worry about that. It's about the team. And Suter's got to be a pro, which he will be. and keep himself ready because they're going to go back to him at some point. Buchnevic's playoff numbers from a goal scoring standpoint were not very good heading into last night's game. I think he had like one career playoff goal in like 23 games or something. 22 games. So now he's got 4 in 23 games. It's amazing what a difference a game will make. I enjoyed talking to him after the game. Love the crowd's reaction. Love the respect. How much love they show to Buchnevich, man. That means a lot to him. Binnington, spectacular once again. The Blues had 28 shots on goal last night. By far the most they've had in the series. Something they hadn't been able to do in the first couple of series on the road. And they kind of flipped the script a little bit. I think Winnipeg, they end up with 18 shots last night? Yeah, 18 shots. So 28-18, the shot total last night. So Winnipeg couldn't get anything going offensively. Winnipeg, man, do they miss Ehlers and Velarde. Gabe Velarde, even yesterday, skating in a no-contact jersey. Sometimes you just wonder, it's a morning skate. And there's no real physicality. There's no real contact in a morning skate. I guess the bright yellow no-contact jersey certainly gets the other players' attention they know it's him. But is there a little gamesmanship going on? Possibly. I don't know. In terms of making him look more hurt than he is. From what I understand, it sounds like he'll be in the lineup for Game 5. Who knows? He could be in the lineup for Game 4. When you have these gaps between games, when you're taking 2 days between games, it certainly works into the favor of those who are trying to get back into the lineup. Holloway, still nothing's changed. I don't expect to see him this series at all. Ehlers, don't expect to see him this series. But when you look at Velarde, 60-plus points in the season, 12 power play goals, number 1 power play team in the league, they obviously miss him. Just like the Blues miss Holloway. But when you get past Scheifele, when you get past Kyle Connor, who were the difference in the first 2 games, they were unbelievable on home ice, and they were nothing last night. I think they had to combine just a couple of shots on goal, but they were -7 in last night's game combined. I mean, that is not what you need if you're Winnipeg from those 2 guys. And there's just not a whole lot of offense coming when you get past that top line with Iafallo playing with those guys. So Winnipeg, I just wonder what's going through their mind right now just to get pounded the way that they did on the road. Some great playoff series, and we'll get into that coming up with Carlo Colaiacovo. So stick around. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week here live from Half Coast Studios. Hockey Sense with Andy Strickland, man. Great to have you along with us. And again, we've been doing this now for quite some time, but Hockey Sense had been on the radio. We've talked to some radio stations about taking it back to the radio, but kind of like doing this here from Half Coast Studios. Aiden takes care of us. Alex, everybody takes care of us. It's a great place to be. There's no doubt about that. Small business lending. If you're running a business, I'm talking to you. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, First Community offers competitive rates on commercial loans, lines of credit, commercial credit cards. These are all designed to help your business thrive, so take advantage of that. Go to firstcommunity.com today and ask about the small business lending. They've been in business for over 90 years, man. They know what they're doing. Go into a bank, talk to them face-to-face, firstcommunity.com. Four Hands Brewing Company, check out one of their many locations around town. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop, locally owned, man. You got to love the Wallace family. They are the absolute best. And they flat out have it going on. Download that Dirt Cheap app today. Don't sleep on the party goods. All this party supplies. If you're having graduation parties coming up, birthday parties, whatever it is that you're having. We just had Easter, whatever it is you're looking to decorate for your upcoming party. Paper goods, all of that. You can find it all at Dirt Cheap. Many of the locations have drive-thrus, curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car to do your shopping. But get the app today. They've got some amazing deals. All the best deals can be found on their app. They call them steals. They're so good. The deals are so good, they call them steals. So check that out. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Blue Note Roofing. David Novak is in a great mood today. He's tired, I know that. But 314-920-5713. We just keep having storms every single night. If you need new roofing, sidings, gutters, soffit, fascia, whatever it is, call David Novak today with Blue Note Roofing. He'll talk pucks with you. He's the best in the business. We've had him in studio, man. I don't bring everybody into studio. I'll bring him into studio. David Novak, he's the best. 314-920-5713. 314 Sports Cards. You know who I'm talking about. Devin Sant He's the man. Devin is the best. 314 Sports Cards. My kids keep going in there. My wife goes in there. Whenever there's a birthday party, she's like, oh, what do I get there? Oh, I'm just going to go into 314 Sports Cards and buy them a box of cards. They are the best when it comes to hockey cards. They've got football cards. The NFL draft was going on yesterday. So ask them about some NFL cards if you want that. Of course, they've got the best selection of baseball cards. NBA, PGA, MLS, whatever it is you're looking for. Even WNBA, if you want some Caitlin Clark cards, you can find those too. With the WNBA cards from Caitlin Clark. But the hockey cards, man, no one does hockey cards better than 314 Sports Cards. 9460 Alla Boulevard in Olivet. Tell Devin Sant we sent you from Hockey Sense with Andy Strickland. All right, here's what we have on tap. Carlo Colaiacovo. We'll kick it around the league. We'll talk about a bunch of different series with him, including that Toronto-Ottawa series. Toronto's up 3-0. Florida's up 2-0 now on Tampa Bay. You got a great series taking place between Vegas and Dallas, Edmonton, LA. So much to get into with Carlo. Looking forward to that. That's coming up next. Jamal Mayers will also join us later on in the show. We'll get back into the Blues series, also kick around some things around the NHL. Full show ahead on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. I'm Andy Strickland. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hockey Sense. Carlo with his number 8 jersey behind there. Put a 28 jersey up there.
That's my famous moment at the World Juniors when I led the tournament in scoring.
Led the tournament in assists too.
I did, yeah.
1 goal, 10
until recently. Didn't Hudson break it recently?
We're not counting that.
All right, works in my book.
Although, what a shocker. I didn't think that kid would be this good. Even like early in the year when he was like having all that success, I'm like,
Lane?
Yes, he's unreal.
I called it last year when this guy made his debut in the NHL with like 3 games left. I called it last year. I said, this kid's the real deal. He's going to win the Calder. I've been all over it all summer. I've been all over it all year. I've been begging Marty St. Louis at the start of the year, put him on the first power play unit.
He's unreal. Every team is looking for that guy now. Like the Quinn Hughes, the McCarr. The thing about
Lane Hudson is that he doesn't get tired,
mm-hmm.
and he plays with the same intensity both offensively and defensively.
Yeah. Do you put Hughes in that category too, or no?
Yes,
he's unreal. I mean, well, I'm saying in terms of playing with the same intensity.
Yes,
at the defensive end, because he does, and we all know McCarr does. Haskin,
and those guys there, like. Yeah. They don't need to get by with their like physical presence. They get by with their smarts.
They've been small their whole life. I just saw Cole Hudson play in the Frozen Four. So I saw him live play a couple of games. And watching him in the World Juniors, Carlo, like he was like better than good. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's on. He may even be better than Lane Hudson. And they all go in the second round, by the way.
I know. I don't understand it. How is their scouts grading guys better than those two? It doesn't make any sense.
So apparently their dad, it's weird because they were born in St. Louis, by the way. I think Lane was.
The Hudson brothers?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know the story. Like his dad was like running a rink like in Illinois or something. I don't know. I got to ask. I didn't go, when the Frozen Four was here, I didn't go down to the practices or after the game and talk to him. But
you weren't that important enough, eh?
I just didn't care to. Carlo, I'm in a box with Big Walt. I'm not going to lie.
Nice.
We're having fun at the Frozen Four. I'm not working the games, but, and somebody told me in there, and I looked it up. I think Cole Hudson was born in St. Louis for sure. I think Lane may have been born here too. I got to double check that. But anyway, apparently their dad would have them skate without laces in their skates when they were kids. Had you heard that? What happened to your audio? Your audio went away.
Hey,
yeah,
you're back?
There you are. You're back.
Okay, sorry.
Had you heard that?
I did hear that. Yeah. It was actually an interview that Lane Hudson did. I think it was on a Habs broadcast.
Okay.
Or maybe a World Junior broadcast where he talked about how the reason why these guys are so good on their edges is because their dad would make them skate in skates that were either too loose or had no laces in them.
Does that make sense to you?
Doesn't at all.
You know,
I tried that at this age where my ankles are probably as strong as ever, and like it didn't feel comfortable at all.
My kid would probably hit me over the head with a stick if I told him, like, taking your laces out and you're going to go skate.
By the way, your kid, was he the one that was in that shootout finale?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be up in Toronto, allegedly. I agreed to do this like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. The Blues were like way out of the playoffs. It wasn't even a consideration. So if there's a game 6, I won't be able to go, but we're supposed to be up there next weekend for something that Versteeg's doing. So we committed to it a long time ago, but we'll see.
May 2nd weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a tournament too with my son. How old's your son?
He's a year older than yours because yours is a 2007.
So you're 2016?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice.
we'll talk about that and I'll let you know. But
Yeah, do me a favor. When you come up, don't call me.
come on. I know how to find you guys.
Of course, you better call me.
I know I will. All right, so Toronto's up 3-0. I know the games have been close, but I wasn't able to watch the game last night. You just look at the final score, and I watched all of game 1, most of game 2. Obviously couldn't watch the game last night, but was paying attention to it. Are the games close, Carlo? Like, how would you characterize the actual matchup?
Well, aside from game 1, where it was completely one-sided, and mostly because I think Ottawa pushed themselves out of the rink with some of their inexperience.
Yeah.
And the Leafs just made them pay. These last 2 games, I mean, yeah, they've been close, but you could really tell who is the veteran team and who is the inexperienced team, because it's the little mistakes that are ending up in the back of Ottawa's net. I mean, the face-off dominance in the dot with the Maple Leafs. I mean, you look at all the goals that they've scored off of face-off plays, even on the power play, including the game winner last night. And you look at the overtime goal that Domi scored. It's a 2-on-4. Like, Ottawa, I think, is more beating themselves, but I think the Leafs deserve a ton of credit too, because a lot of people over the years with their playoff failures really questioned this team's ability to rise up and be comfortable in playing in tight games come playoff time. And I think that's one thing that Chief has established right from day one, is that, being a 4-line team, having contributions from everybody, have roles from everybody. They didn't score at the same pace that they normally do this year, but they won a lot of games playing this type of hockey. So I guess if you build enough of that, mentality or stamina of understanding how to play, still be comfortable in games that you really probably don't feel comfortable in, this is the result you get in the playoffs, right? Like, the one thing I've seen in the Leafs game is there hasn't been any sense of pressure, any sense of nerves, and any sense of panic in their game. Even when they give up a 2-goal lead in game 2, Ottawa ties it on their first shot in 17 minutes. And then last game, they go down 1, they respond right away, they get the early goal in the third, and then they give it up right away. In previous years, the Leafs would find ways to lose those games than win them. And I think what's been really impressive is that they still have, a push forward button that they use and that they have and that they feel comfortable in. And a lot of it has been driven by their top players, which is not something that you were used to normally seeing in playoff series. But I think the other thing too is that like the Leafs have had very tough matchups the last couple of years. I mean, you're talking about, Tampa, Florida, Boston. These teams are all like seasoned teams, experienced teams. And I think this is the advantage of winning the division, where you get more of a favorable matchup and you get a team that's coming in, wide-eyed, and they're making mistakes. And the Leafs are making them pay for it.
Yeah, no, I think I said the same thing. It's a little bit different when you look at a team on the other side that's got future Hall of Famers and they've won before and they just have presence. This is a team where you probably go into a series where you're a little more confident. Everyone always says the core 4. Matthew Nyes has maybe added his name to make it a core 5. He's a really good player. Defensively, where is this team at right now defensively? How are they defending? And I'm curious, Craig Berube impact. Where has he had the most impact on this team?
Well, you and I both know Craig Berube personally. I played for him and you worked with him for many years. The thing that I've always appreciated from Craig Berube is his brutal honesty. right? He holds guys accountable and he tries to preach a certain way to play. And a lot of that, being a coach and having your team play the way you want to play is having the personnel to play it. And I think for the Maple Leafs, this is the first time in the 9 years in this group that they actually have a defense that's built for playoff success. I mean, they never had a really good right-handed shot defenseman. Now they've got 2 of them, right? You got Brandon or Chris Tanev and you've got Brandon Carlo. Like, not only are these guys big presence because of their size, but they're tough to play against. And they've never had that. Then you bring in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who last year there was a resurgence in his game. People forget that he was one of the best defensemen on Florida last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So though you bring in those 3 guys alone, you're going to significantly be better. Then you add McCabe, Benoit, and Riley, who have already been there. As a group of 6 defensemen, the Leafs have never been this good. And what they do very well is they make the game hard for you to play in their D zone. They don't give you much time and space. They make short, simple passes. I mean, the Leafs have been victim of their own mistakes in the past where they're always looking for that home run pass. And if they don't get it, it ends up in the back of their net. If they've got guys that box out, they got guys that win board battles, they get guys that play physical, and they get guys that just make simple plays. And those are always the best defensemen. The best defensemen are the guys that go about their job quietly. And the reason why it's quiet is because they're doing so many good things out there.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Is this the best you've seen?
And it helps, too, when you're getting great goaltending.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I like Stolarz, too, man. I think that was a smart choice to go with him. I know there was a lot of, talk down the stretch, who they going to go with. I never felt like they weren't going to go with him. You may disagree with me. I always felt like he would be the guy. You could always turn to Wool. I think that's the easier play or the better play versus turning to Stolarz, although I don't think it would make a ton of difference. But I like Stolarz, too. And it's good to see him.
He's been awesome, man. He's been absolutely awesome. And the thing I really like about Stolarz is I'm a big fan of big goalies.
Yeah.
Like guys that can make a save before the puck is shot because they cover most of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been one of his strengths. I mean, he makes the game look easy just because of his positioning. And so I'll be the first to admit to you, I thought Wall was going to be the guy. Before the season started, even midway through the season, I still thought Wall was going to be the guy. But that's even more of a credit to Stolarz because he came in and actually earned that starting position. And I think there's most people in Toronto that feel comfortable with any guy that's in the net.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it's a credit to how they defend, too, where you have both goaltenders playing at the level that they are right now. Is this the best you've ever seen Mitch Marner play?
In the playoffs, yes. Absolutely.
He had a great regular season, too. I mean, since the Four Nations, have you seen just an elevated Mitch Marner?
Well, isn't that what normally happens for guys that are considered elite? And I look at Marner as an elite player because he makes stuff happen out there. He's got game-changing abilities. The problem is that in years past, he's had there's been the difficulty of transitioning or at least converting that play in the regular season where he is viewed as an elite player in the league and having that same success or even elevating his game to that same level in the playoffs. And that's been the frustrating thing about him. That's what sort of alienated him in this market. And I like some of it's fair, some of it isn't. Like when you want to be that guy in a market like this, there's an expectation that comes with it. And when you don't play with it and you continually get eliminated the same way, it drives people bananas.
Yeah.
But look, he's an amazing player. I've always been a fan of Mitch Marner. I still get amazed at some of the stuff that he does. And the reason why he does it is because he's always one step ahead. He knows what play he's making most of the time before he gets the puck.
Amazing pass last night on the Matthews.
Incredible.
Man.
Incredible. Like, I mean, a normal play like that would be a winger picking up that rim, either stopping it or trying to wrap it around on his own. He's got eyes on the back of his head. He's like, oh, Matthews is right there with an open head if I can find a way to get it to him. I mean, look at the play. It's almost a similar play, but he did it on his offside, on his backhand in the finals of the Four Nations in overtime, where he picked the puck off the rim, backhand to forehand in one motion onto McDavid's tape into the back of the net.
Yeah.
Like And the thing that I love about Mitch is he elevates his game when he feels like he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year there's been so much of his game to prove people wrong about how they feel about him. And I love the fact that he's elevated to another level. I love the fact that he got 100 points here. I love the fact that he's led this team. I love the fact that he's continued to lead this team because I don't see a future without Mitch Marner for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
I really don't. And what I do love about how they handled this situation is simple. They said something at the beginning of the year. They've stuck with it throughout the year, and they basically said, you go out and you do what you got to do. We're going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
They've sort of kept that motor running with him.
Yeah. I think if you take it this far, I think you got to listen and see what's out there. And I feel like that's going to be his play. But I
don't think there's any harm in doing that.
He'll always come back to Toronto before making a decision. But I love the way he's playing. But I always felt like, for all of his flaws, though, Carlo, in the playoffs, he took too much heat when you had teams that couldn't defend, didn't get the goaltending. It can't all be on your best players. A lot of times in the playoffs, those players get canceled out. You don't win with just your most talented or most gifted skill guys. You got to have the pieces that can win in the playoffs. And to your point about the defense and getting Tanev and some of these other guys, I think you're more built for allowing him to maybe make a mistake and then, use his skill and his overall ability to come through when it matters the most.
No question. I don't think there's anything I could argue against you there, and I think most people would agree too. But when you look at the way this Leafs team has lost in the previous years, their defense, as patchwork as it seemed, gave them a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
Their goaltending, as weak as it may have seemed, gave them a chance to win. The reason why this team couldn't get past the hump in previous years is because they couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went 13 of their last 14 games before this series started of scoring 2 goals or less.
Yeah, playing against, like we said, good defensive teams.
And teams that are championship caliber. And I think when you're putting that expectation on yourself of being a Stanley Cup contender, there's an expectation with the people that watch this team that these players who want to be viewed as that
mm-hmm.
have to do more to elevate and push past this. And look, it's great that they're doing it as the Ottawa Senators. I think the true test is going to be in the next round when they face
Florida
or Tampa. They should get there, but we've seen crazier things happen. But I was never a guy that sort of was hard on Marner in those playoffs here. I'm a realist,
mm-hmm.
okay? I give compliments when they're deserved, but I also criticize when it deserves.
Sure.
And you point out it's obviously there's a lot of talk in Toronto about the core 4 and not doing enough in the playoffs. But I've also said too that you got to be careful what you wish for in this league because it's very hard to find star talent.
Yeah.
And when you have it, you got to be careful of wanting to get rid of it before you really need to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think the Leafs understand. I think the Leafs management understands that. I mean, because the next thing you know, you start asking for change and change doesn't bring you the same, position or the same scenarios. I mean, the Leafs are in the playoffs in 9 straight seasons. And I think what people don't appreciate enough is that in the regular season, they've been a top 5 team almost every year. How many teams in a cap roll that can say that they've been able to be that?
Not many, but Marner 4th overall. I know Tavares wasn't a Leafs draft pick, but a 1st overall player. Matthews 1st overall. Nylander obviously a high pick. Nye's a great pick. But that's how you sometimes you got to have some hard times. That's how you get these types of players.
Yeah.
But you don't want to let them go once you have them.
I hate to bring this back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
But remember when Alex Pietrangelo was a free agent? What was the one thing I told you that this team's going to regret?
Yeah. And you know what? And Doug Armstrong admitted it. It's the one move that he wishes he could have back. He admitted that
Right.
to Cam and I on our podcast, which I
I mean,
was impressed.
tell a
He
guy like
actually
that,
admitted
you
it.
lose him, you spend the next 5-6 years looking for him.
But you know the ends of that negotiation too. It just got too personal. Should never have gotten there.
I agree.
We'll get into that for another day. Last thing about Toronto, then I have another quick question. I'll let you go. If they lose to Florida in the next round, is this a failure of a season? Is it? I mean, how will you look at it? Do they have to get to the conference final at minimum?
Look, when you get to the second round of the playoffs, you're one of 8 teams remaining.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Right. And that should be viewed as a success in anybody's playbook. I've always been a believer that it's not if you lose, it's the way you lose.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the Leafs, the way they've lost in previous years, it's been game 7s. Right. And the frustrating thing in those game 7s is that they don't score in those game 7s. Now they've tinkered around the roster again. I think the same is going to be said when they get to the next round. And if they win or if they lose, it's not going to be who they lose to. If they get swept, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of criticism that comes with it. If they lose in game 7,
yeah.
I mean, are you really going to be that upset? Anything can happen in game 7. You're playing against a really good team.
Yeah. A team that's been to the final the last 2 years, assuming the Panthers get past Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that if we get there. You know, still a lot of time to go before we can talk about a Florida-Toronto playoff series. But I hope we see one. That would be just a great television.
Yeah.
No doubt. Can I ask you this? Because I know he's Connor Hellebuck. I mean, his numbers point towards him being just a generational goaltender. He's going to win the third Vezina, and
maybe even the Hart.
He'll probably win the Hart. And I just watch him play, and I'm like, God, he's got all this hardware, but like he's not Marty Brodeur, he's not Patrick Waugh, he's not Dominic Hasek, he's probably not Eddie Belfour. Like, he's a really good goalie, but every time I see him play, like, he just doesn't stand on his head. The Blues are scoring goals on him. They chase him last night. They score 6 goals on him.
Yeah.
Can't handle the puck, plays deep in his net. They're beating him high over and over and over again. Like, how will you look at this guy if he doesn't have playoff success? Isn't that how you define greatness when it comes to goaltending? It's different than a guy who scores 600 who maybe doesn't have the team success.
It's not just goaltending. I mean, if Alexander Ovechkin didn't win a Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals, how would we view his legacy?
Still, but you would view his legacy as the greatest goal scorer.
Right.
Right.
But I think there's always something that's attached to winning.
Sure.
Right. And there's a very serious case to be made here about Connor Hellebuck. How this guy is 2 completely different goaltenders in the season and in the playoffs. And when they went through the first 2 games in Winnipeg, a lot of us said, okay, maybe regular season Hellebuck is real. He's showed up this year. But then after that performance last game, you immediately start to doubt again.
He's why they lost, Carlo.
Yeah, I know. And I think the bigger concern is, how does he follow that up now? Right? Does he follow that up with a strong performance and maybe you eliminate that thought? Or does he follow it up with another one of those performances and then you have serious doubt and say to yourself, is this guy broken again? I don't know. It's one of the most fascinating cases in the NHL of a really, really, elite player at his position.
Yeah. And he's 31. It's not like he's 24, 25, 26, where, so he's still in the prime of his career. But again, he's not a young goaltender by any means. And we've got a long way to go in the series, and they're up in the series, and think it's the narrative can change completely with a great game on Sunday afternoon. But even the first game, they got 3 goals on him early in that game. And, then he shut the door, but they only gave up 17 shots in the game. So,
yeah.
They just play such an organized style, Winnipeg. When you create some chaos and force them to play disorganized, they can look like a different team. But they're missing some big-time forwards, too. But Bennington, maybe he's in his head, man. He beat him head-to-head in 19, and then you look at the 4 Nations championship game. So Bennington's just so confident. Like, you never go into a game feeling like you are...
What Bennington are you going to get?
Well, yeah, you just don't know. You just don't go into a game feeling like that the other goalie has an advantage over the Blues goalie. But long way to go. what's your favorite series to watch right now? This Vegas Minnesota series is interesting. If Kaprizov doesn't get hurt, we all know he's probably in the Hart Trophy conversation. They get him and Eriksson Ek back, and now, but they're a wild card team. If they don't get hurt, they're probably in the top 3. They're not playing Vegas.
Okay, Andy, is it safe for you to agree with me on this, that if Kaprizov didn't get hurt this year, he probably would have won the Hart Trophy?
Yeah, because I think he's one of the top 3 or 4 players in the league. He's unbelievable,
Yeah.
Carlo.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
So, I mean, when the playoff races were going on in the Western Conference, and especially when the Blues were making their push, I think everybody was saying between Winnipeg and between Vegas, I think everybody would have preferred Minnesota as the matchup over the Blues because of how high you guys were playing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so now Minnesota's, providing a stiff test. And I've been really impressed with what Minnesota's doing because they're operating with a $15 million
dead money.
Dead cap hit that has limited their roster construction, right? They've been playing with $15 million less than anybody. Now that ends next year, but to be this competitive has been really, really impressive. And I don't know, like I live in the East. I never watched many Vegas games, but it just seemed like Vegas was one of those teams that just quietly went about their business throughout the season and won the Pacific Division.
Yeah.
Like even games that I watched them, they didn't really do a lot of things great. They just did a lot of things good. And I mean, Adin Hill, he looks not like the Adin Hill that helped him win a cup.
No. But this year, Vegas didn't make the big splash this year. They were kind of quiet. They didn't make a lot of noise at the deadline. You just assume that they're just ready to go. But the Pacific Division is a little bit of a different animal, too, when you look at that division as a whole. But Minnesota, I mean, what you're seeing right now from Minnesota, that wasn't the Minnesota team much of the second half of the season.
No, not at all.
But Minnesota got off to a great start.
Yeah.
They would have been a top 3 team in the division. There's no question if they would share these guys.
Sure. I think the series that I get most interested in is Colorado-Dallas.
Oh, yeah. That's
right.
Big boy hockey.
Yeah. I was excited about Florida, Tampa, but I mean, Florida, man, it's almost like they're a problem again.
What do you think of the Hagel hit on Barkov?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think, I can understand what Hagel's trying to do there. He's trying to be physical on their top player, but I thought there was more of a target. It was more of a targeting, hit, because you can't watch that and say that the head wasn't the principal point of contact there. I mean, yeah, and there's kind of a leap to his to his
he's gonna get dinged. He's got the hearing coming up, so he'll get dinged, and I don't know how many games, because in the playoffs they just suspend you for like a game.
He's getting 1 for sure. I think the most he'd probably get is 2.
Yeah, I've seen worse. I'm not saying he needs a 3 or 4 game suspension, but Florida, they don't like him to begin with anyway. So maybe he creates a little more nastiness now moving forward in that series.
Maybe. I mean, it's what we all thought we were going to see, but
yeah. But Florida needs Barkov, man. If he's going to miss time, then I think you have to consider that when you're handing down your suspension. So, Carlo, we'll do this again, man. I always appreciate it. You know that. Keep up the great work up there, man. Keep up the great work up there. Who do you see the most outside of Toronto from a work standpoint? Like your TV stuff, are you doing mostly Montreal? Like, who do you do mostly?
Yeah, I was the lead Habs analyst this year for TSN, and then I would get a handful of Sens games, a handful of Leaf games, and a couple of Jets games, and that was all done in studio. But I do my radio show from home now, which is great. So, I mean, I run into Drager a lot. I have, almost constant communication with him. I talk to my co-host a lot, Aaron Karolnik. Talk to Frankie Corrado a lot. We see each other a lot. We share the same hat broadcast because he's doing color on them. And And then, James Duthie, you name it. I at this time of year, especially, I would say like a week before trade deadline and then a week before the playoffs start, I make my rounds with my contacts just to catch up and, you know, just get caught up in the news.
You got to stay
What's
caught
going
up.
on.
You got to stay caught up. Well, Cam and I are going to have you on too. It's just, it'll be crazy if Toronto gets deep into the play. They get to the third round, we'll be heavy.
Look, I
At
mean,
least.
is it really a bad thing for the NHL for Toronto to go deep? I know that a lot of people love hating on them and love making fun of them. And look, they've earned it. They deserve it. I'm not going to sit here and defend it. But they have a really good team and they've got a really passionate fan base.
Listen,
I think it'd be great.
I got to see Mike Van Ryn when I was up there. I had my kid up there a few months ago. We went to a Leafs game. Chief got us tickets. We had a great time. Listen, I love the passion that everyone has for Toronto. I think the main reason why they get criticized is just because they're the focal point of a lot of people's coverage. And there's a lot of people who cover the league that have a lot of interest in the Leafs personally. They grew up Leafs fans, and I guess no different than the Yankees or the Cowboys or something like that. So it is what it is. You always people love seeing the Cowboys lose. They like seeing the Yankees lose. Toronto's kind of in that category. My kid couldn't believe it, though, when I told him the other day, like that Toronto hadn't won a Stanley Cup since 1967, before I was born. It's a whole generation of people who have never seen a Stanley Cup.
But not just win a Stanley Cup. They haven't played into the month of June.
Oh, my God.
Right?
I know.
So.
But with Chief there and although he did have to tell Mark Savard to calm down on the bench.
How funny was that?
I was talking to, I mentioned something to Otter about that yesterday. It's so funny.
I mean, like, look, it's the playoffs, man. There's an extra there's an extra curiosity, there's an extra intensity, there's an extra, adrenaline that guys feel in those moments.
Yeah.
And I love how, I mean, and I'm so thankful I've got a great relationship with Chief that I can text him once in a while and joke with him about it. He's good about that stuff. And I sent him a message. I go, hey, go easy on Savvy, would you? I mean, the guy is just celebrating his power play goal.
Unbelievable. I could just see him getting annoyed by that. It's so hilarious,
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Hilarious. Okay.
He taps him. He's like, hey, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah. Settle down. Act like you've been here.
Did you see the celebration after the Benoit goal yesterday on the bench?
No, I was looking for that, actually.
So Van Ryn and Savvy both grabbed Chief on each shoulder and we're like patting him like, yeah, Chief, yeah.
I love it.
And he was just there like laughing it up.
Yeah. He's got great camaraderie with they're like a separate team. Whoever's on his coaching staff, they're their own team, man. He's got great relationships.
I tell you what, man, I played for Chief for 1 year and I still have a great relationship with him. And that's what I love about the guy is that, he really prioritizes friendships and, good people.
Yeah. All right, man. Keep it going. Keep up the great work. We'll be in touch here shortly.
Okay, buddy. Thanks. Go Blues, and we'll chat soon.
See you, pal. Talk to you soon. Carlo Colaiacovo, Blue Note Roofing. Of course, Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone, something special in your life. 314-432-8008. Go to Lordo's Diamonds today. Say hi to Mike and Jimmy. Let them take great care of you. Jamal Mayers. He's up next. We got lots to get into with Jammer. Keep it here on Hockey Sense. Don't go anywhere. All right. It's time to get real here on the show. You got to see Carlo, though. That's always nice, huh?
Yeah, he's a great guy. I honestly, I love him. He's a great teammate, great person. I can't get it out of my head, some of the silly stuff he did as a teammate, though. He would block shots, and I hate to give it to him, but he wanted the spray,
the free spray.
And he'd spray his oh. Just some of the things that he would do were quite comical, but a gamer, loved
Everybody
the game,
likes him.
played the right way, good guy,
good player too. Yeah. He could run a power play. He's good offensively.
Yep,
really good in the World Juniors back in the day. I think he had 3 consecutive years, 30 points or more, something like that.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, he's one guy you wonder, and I would say this to him, like
Mhm.
if he really took fitness and nutrition seriously
Yeah.
at 16,
Mhm.
he was just so talented that he
Yeah.
was able to have a tremendous amount of success in junior.
First
I
round.
wonder what would happen if he was like Gary Roberts dialed in,
Yeah.
or like, my buddy Matty, like that type of dialed in training wise. What?
Matty who? Staging or something?
No, not Matt Stajan. Yeah, he's one of the guys, but like Matty Nickel,
Oh, Matty.
who's famous
Former Leafs strength coach.
yeah, strength guy who started BioSteel
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. If you was dialed in like that, I
Yeah.
wonder like what his career would have looked like.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could probably say that for a lot of guys, right?
That's true. It's
You know,
true.
especially the guys that are drafted high, they get opportunities because of that, right? And
Yes.
and they're naturally talented, but they probably could have played longer, or certainly had more success, made more money, everything.
I don't think you can even survive if you're not on that path now.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, the teams are on that path now too. Like,
Yeah, the teams are more dialed into it, but individually, the guys are all on board in
Mhm.
regard to the nutrition and
yeah.
the fitness part came first, but the
When
nutrition.
should kids start really getting dialed in, as you say, and not nutrition, but I mean training, strength training, for example.
That's a tough one.
Mhm.
I think that has changed over the years. I think it's gotten younger,
Mhm.
not because you're forcing them to like they have to do this, they have to do
Mhm.
this. Ultimately, I'll say this: the kids, whether they're in, my examples are my girls with soccer and my and with crew with hockey. They have to drive the bus. If they come to you and they say, "I need to get faster. I'm getting tired. I need to fix this." Oh, okay, no
Mhm.
problem. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do plyos. We're gonna start doing weights. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go see crash. We're gonna do some quickness elements.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some plyo box jumping. They have to drive it.
Mhm.
So, for example, if crew came to me, what you did a year ago, and said, "I need to get, I'm smaller, so I
Yeah.
need to be faster and I need to be strong for my
Mhm.
size so I can
Mhm.
surprise people." Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's start doing it. What we're gonna have to do is 3 or 4 days a week. We're gonna start with body weight plyos.
Yeah.
A lot of single leg stuff, a lot of jumping, bounding, hopping, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And so we do that stuff 3 or 4 times a week. Now he does it. We do 4 sets of 6 or 7 exercises that last about either 12 reps or 40 seconds each. It's a circuit. First 2 reps are with the weight. First 3 are with the weighted vest.
Will the girls do it with crew?
They did when it was COVID, but
Mhm.
they're on their own programs now.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll have weighted vest on for the first 3 reps, and then the last time through, no weight. So
Mhm.
we always want to finish and teach the brain to go fast. So we always finish fast, finish
Without the vest.
without the vest. And so
And you just do that at home?
we do it at home on the turf, and it actually starts to add up.
I think you got to listen to your kid too. I found with my kid, like when the season ended, like he was getting a little mentally tired. You know what I mean? And we kind of shut down some of the early morning stuff and like
Good.
stuff like that. Like just, I didn't want to force it because he still had other stuff going on. Like spring season like starts and like you still have stuff happening. And then you get into that, and then all of a sudden it just naturally now they come back and now it's just it's just hockey. He just wants it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
more of it.
I think that's a great point you made. Is you got to listen to them
And let them
let them
kinda
dictate.
Yeah.
Where those are, because or else you'll lose them. Like they have to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need reminders, and that's what parents have to do. They all like their device and do these things, and then there's your reminder, "Hey, you haven't really shot pucks lately." And then for my experiences, and then boom, he's like every day,
Mm-hmm.
twice at night, "Move your car, please, so I can shoot pucks."
Yeah.
Shooting pucks. Never want him to do it more than 30 minutes because then it starts to feel like work. Just do and when he started at, Ty's age, it's literally 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes is nothing, but it's got to be every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the compounding effect of the everyday
Yeah.
shooting every day. 15 minutes doesn't feel like work, but in 15 minutes he can shoot 200 pucks.
Oh my God. No, but and Crew's in the same situation as Ty because they don't have brothers at home either, right? So
Right.
sometimes you have to be the brother also. Like
Yeah.
you got to go out there, you got to play with them. But then they get to a point where they just it's almost therapeutic to go out and do it by yourself,
Yeah.
and use that imagination and just shoot pucks and stick handle and whatever.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you come home and he's doing it on his own in the driveway. Like you like that he's got to do it on his own sometimes too. There's no kids in the neighborhood that are going to come over and shoot pucks with him.
No, that's
They'll want to play soccer.
it's different than 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not as organic, unfortunately, as we used to have it.
No.
But I think they find that there's like an advantage that they gain mentally too, knowing that they're doing the extra work. And occasionally I'll go up to him and say, hey, let's try this shot. Let's do this shot. We'll tweak some things and show him a variety of shots. I will say this. The reason why I want all kids that I work with, and especially crew, to have a variety of shots is you think about all the really good goal scorers over the years. Like their radius of shooting the puck and the ability to, like, everyone thinks Matthews just does the toe drag release. He doesn't do that.
Number of different
It's a push away from him. It's a backhand whip. It's like pull it into his feet tight. He has 5, 6 variations, right? And depending on the situation, he uses whatever one is appropriate. That keeps the goalie off balance. My issue was I shot the puck hard, but it looked the same every time I shot it. So the goalies were like, oh, blocker.
You took a lot of slap shots too.
I don't know about that.
You did. Like coming down, you would take, and that's kind of gone away now. Where guys,
that never happens.
Like guys come down the wing and just rip a slap shot. Like when do you ever see someone do?
Never. The D's skate so well. There's no gap anymore, and I don't think in today's game you're even.
Is that what it is that's taking it away?
I think the D's ability to gap up
and how long their sticks are.
Yeah, and you know what D do now, and 95% of the teams is the D will interchange in the neutral zone and come across and swarm.
Yeah.
Like you're not coming. It's got to be a broken play for you to come at a D.
Winnipeg plays a different style inside their own end than what I'm seeing from a lot of these other teams in the playoffs right now. And talking to some of the Blues players, they'll tell you like the way they swarm is just they suffocate you. It's like they play such an organized style. I think one thing the Blues did really well against them in Game 3 was like they made the game a little more chaotic, where they just couldn't look as organized as they had in the first couple of games, you know?
Yeah, I think the second man support was closer, and they're able to like go low to high quicker. And I think that if you're able to switch sides quickly on a swarm, a team that swarms, you get them in trouble. So the key.
And you're saying switch sides. You're saying we got the puck on one side, you just rim it to
the other corner.
Side,
yeah, and then that's usually the way you're going to break a swarm, is because you have to understand, like, they're all coming, right? You got both D in the corner on a swarm. They want to stop, but they don't get it. They're on the way to stop. The first guy's job is to get the stop. Second guy, D, literally D in the corner too. It's a forward that's net front. The center or whoever's back first is playing off of those 2D. You're literally outnumbering them. So the idea is you've got 3, 2D and 1 forward, usually the center. If not, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you got a guy in the top of the circle. So you've got 1 forward in the corner, in front of the net, 2D in the corner, the supporting first forward behind in that scrum as well. So now you're 3-on-2 at most. Most teams aren't going to put all 3 forwards in the corner. So now you're going to outnumber them. That's the whole idea of a swarm. The only way to break it, as I'm saying in that instance, is to relieve pressure to the completely other side and allow your D, to the weak side D, to go get that puck.
Yeah. Whereas if you look at Edmonton, their defense don't play very intelligent sometimes in the offensive zone. They're just kind of they're all in one area of the ice. They expose that ability to change sides and relieve the defenseman's not even there. You know? So
yeah.
He's just like I don't know what Nurse was doing the other day. I mean, there's a specific clip that I have in mind, but that I'm thinking about. And it's just I'm surprised that with his experience and as well as he played this season, that that the game doesn't come a little more natural for some of these guys in the offensive zone. Like they just, because defensively it's been a challenge for those guys too. You look at Bouchard, like he might as well just play forward, Jamal.
Yeah, I think that it's recognition, it's trust, it's understanding, it's you gotta see it. If it doesn't see it, then
I know.
You know what I mean? So
is that coaching though too? Though I don't know.
A little bit, but it's also instinct, and the way the game is so fast. If they don't get the jump or aren't anticipating those types of things, they're going to be late. And when you're late, they're not going to go because it's not a 50-50. So they look like in no man's land, and that's usually where they end up.
Right. They've got Paul Coffey on the bench there, who they didn't play that way when he just like led the rush. You know what I mean? He just went.
Right. I think
he was good for a guy like Broberg last year, for example. You know what I mean?
Yes. I love the Swarm. I think it's suffocating.
But do you agree not many teams do it as much as they maybe were a few years back?
I'm not sure the number of teams do it. It's hard to. I know that Florida does it and does it really well. A lot of teams do it. It's really dependent upon your
Personnel.
your personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have the D that can, box out and are willing to block shots, then but they skate well, I would lean towards doing a Swarm.
Yeah.
But it does require forwards to be comfortable in net front, which it's fine for me to teach 11 and 12-year-olds to do this.
Yeah.
I don't, at 34, 32, in my 30s, if I went into a system like that, it would have been really difficult.
Winnipeg's D are big and strong. Hellebuck is, if you're Winnipeg, are you concerned about Hellebuck? I mean, he gives up 6 goals. He gets chased in a game like that. I mean, I don't want to say he's the reason why they lost, but he's a big reason as to why they lost the game. He can handle the puck.
Yeah, what I don't like about his game is, like, I think he sometimes, I don't know if it's ego or he thinks he's better than he is handling the puck, but this is the second year in a row
Crazy to me.
where he's overhandled the puck in the playoffs behind the net. Like, he's not.
He doesn't even know where he didn't even see Thomas coming from the other side.
He's not Jordan Binnington.
No.
Benner's like become one of the best, if not top
really
3 in the league at handling the puck.
He may be the best.
Right? And so maybe there's a little bit of ego going, I can do that. Right?
Yeah.
Because you see what he's doing down at the other end. I don't know. But if I'm the Jets, I'm like, buddy, just stay in your net.
Vasilevsky's not having a great playoff either.
No, he's not.
And those are supposed to be the best goalies in the league. Like, you need goaltending. It's like,
doesn't have to be great. Doesn't have to steal you. Like, Benner was better than, like, they could have won if he wasn't as good as he was last night. He was
they gave
exceptional.
7 goals, yeah.
But you just need the goaltending that they got. The Jets was not good enough.
Cam Fowler has been so impressive, Jamal. Like, this guy, I know he had 5 points last night, but we've been saying this since he got here. Yeah, since the day he got here, he leads the Blues in scoring. He's like a plus 19 during the season. Like, he's defending. He was their best defenseman when Parayko was out. Parayko finally got moving last night, too. He wasn't very good in the first couple of games.
No, he wasn't.
But he came out, and obviously he made a mental decision he was going to be way more aggressive, and he was skating. Broberg was skating. But Cam Fowler specifically, like, he's meant everything to this team, really, since he's gotten here.
Yeah, he's just been a really good stabilizing force. His skating is just still elite. It allows him to defend and take away space and buy time, join the rush, be aggressive in the offensive zone, sealing the walls. He has tremendous instincts and shoots the puck well enough, but is looking to make plays.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're playing with players like Thomas and Buchnevich, a lot of the forwards, that's the best thing you could have on the ice. Even a guy like Plummer, like me, you love it when you go D to D and they're actually looking for a play. Like, they're not just going to wrist it to
But every youth hockey coach should show the clip of his goal and how it started behind his own net. I see more kids who play defense. Who can skate. They just want to skate their way up the ice with the puck, and they don't understand moving it and jumping and that you're going to get it back in a scoring area, if you will get it back if you're playing with players.
The simple terminology,
right?
The simple terminology we use is we want you to join the rush, not lead the rush.
Right.
So yes, absolutely, we want you to move it to
Tough habit to get some of these young kids out of it.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing you deal with when you deal with top end forwards who have been typically used to carrying the puck from the top of the circle in their zone, and then entering the offensive zone with the puck. When you get past 11 years old, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to get disrupted.
That's when it starts.
You have to move the puck forward and catch up and
advance it even 5 feet, 10 feet. Get it back. Kick it wide.
The idea is maybe you want to get it back, but it's not. There's no more carrying it through the neutral zone. It's not happening.
So not from your own end.
You're not doing it, and it's tough because they've been doing it since they were 7, 8, 9, and all of a sudden at 11, you're like, not going to work.
When you see it, at 11. I mean, I'm starting to even see it now a little bit. Like when you play against some of these,
It
top
depends
teams.
on top teams you play because they're doing
Yeah.
it, right? They're doing it because their understanding of how it happens and because they're playing higher end level. The higher you go, the higher level teams you're playing, you're going to have to do that to have success.
Yeah.
And it's a give and go game. It's not.
How do you see Sunday setting up? I mean, for Winnipeg specifically, they lose 7-2. The Blues are obviously going to be confident. Like, is it just a completely new? You just turn the page. You have 2 days between games. It's not going to have much of a factor. Game 3.
It's funny. Like I listen to talk radio in the morning, like about all this hockey. Like they're acting like the Blues are up 2-1.
Right.
Like, guys, pump the brakes. It doesn't matter if they lost, if the Blues won in double overtime or they lost, or Winnipeg lost 7-2. In fact, I would argue that 7-2 is an easier game to wash
Get
away.
over.
Right? So there's no momentum. This I'll say this over and over and over again. There is no momentum from game to game in the playoffs.
Individuals may carry momentum if they're confident or something.
That's
like that,
fine.
Right?
There's no team momentum from game to game. The Blues are gaining no momentum
like
in
carryover.
game 4. No
Yeah.
carryover
Yeah.
from game 3 to game 4, meaning it's a clean slate. Now, what changes if they start on time like they did in game 3
And 1.
and get to Hellebuck early, then the momentum within that game switches to the
Where Winnipeg starts feeling the pressure.
yes. So that for me, I'm watching the first 12 minutes
Yeah.
are first period's critical, and just the same. If I'm the Jets, I'm like, we got to score first.
Yeah.
We got to quiet this crowd. We got to score first. We got to get to Bennington first. We got to start on. We can't retaliate. We've got to win the balance of like penalties. Obviously, the refs are calling these ticky-tack types of things. Let's be aware of that. Enough with the scrums. Get away from the scrums.
Yeah.
Like the scrums, enough with the scrums.
Well, if they're down by 3 or 4 goals, that stuff's going to happen. But I agree with that. There's nothing you're going to gain out of it. Connor and Scheifele combined -7 last night. They just didn't do a whole lot, and they were everything. They're the reason why they won the first 2 games.
Yep.
Do they have enough behind them without Ehlers and Fiala right now?
Oh,
Not Fiala, but Velarde.
Well, I think that Lowry's line has to be better. I think it's a miscasting to have Nemesnikov as a second line center. He was okay last night, but he's not an offensive guy. I don't think he's ever had more than 40 points. He's not going to drive a line, and I think that it's a good matchup for Schenner to have to go up against him. I think to me, I always boil it down to winning your matchups, and it doesn't matter if you're playing against each other or not. The first line's got to be better than the other team's first line, second, third.
Yeah.
I think you could argue that the Blues won that matchup, right? Like Lowry's line was invisible.
Yeah.
Nemesnikov didn't do much.
A lot of talking after the whistle from Lowry's line and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
just enough like that.
Wasted energy.
Yeah. So
I thought Luke Schenn had a tough one last night. Couple penalties.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Got beat on the wall there by Fox out.
Oh yeah. He did struggle. He did struggle.
Yeah, he did. And even Braden's like going at it with him too, which I like to see. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be too buddy. They're so close, and they can be away from the rink and whatever. But during the battle, I like how they're competing.
No, it's important. I think that listen, if I'm Braden's teammate, I'm watching how he is competing again. I'm just being honest. It's just I want you
like if he's laying up or taking it easy on.
And there's no deal cutting here.
No.
Like, and I think that's
and Winnipeg's watching that too.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think it's respectful to your teammates just to play. I always felt that way, whether I was playing against Dallas Drake or Bryce Salvador or any former teammate. Prongs, like I wanted to even go harder at them so that they, my teammates knew that I think it's important. I think it's important that they see that. Doesn't mean you want to jaw them or fight them. I think that would be an awful mistake for you, those two to fight.
Well, you saw like Giroux and Lawton. Apparently they're friends, from their times in Philly, and they're going at it. They're just,
And it means more to your teammates when they see you. Oh, shit, he has a relationship with that guy.
Yeah.
They're like buddies. And like, he doesn't care. He's here for us. Right? That matters.
Luke was telling me a story. I asked him yesterday. I said, "Did you guys like fight? Like, have you guys always been like this close?" And he's like, "No, we used to fight like crazy." Because one time I punched him so hard in the head that I had a cast. I broke my hand. I had a cast on my all the way up to my elbow for 2 months. And he said, "When I hurt my hand so bad when I punched him right in the face." And Braden just, I'm like in major pain because his hand hurt. And he goes, "I look at Braden," and he said that didn't even hurt or something like that. So, because I had a broken hand.
Oh, that's great.
So, I love the competitiveness. How do you see Sunday shaping up? What's your feel for that? Because I was talking to Pronger about this yesterday before the game. He feels like if you're up 2-0 and you win the first 2 games at home, sometimes you do have a tendency that first road game maybe to take your foot off the gas a little bit. And it's not even you're trying to take the foot off the gas, but the other team's so hyped up in front of their home fans. Maybe it takes a game. That's the game you lose, maybe, is that third game, and then you kind of regroup and rediscover your game in the following game in game 4. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
I think that's a fair assessment, but I think that, listen, if you, what you're saying, if you're a Winnipeg Jet today is, guys, we win game 4. We go home up 3-1 with a chance to win the series. Like, that's a good thing.
yeah.
So that's the conversation. But so, and then if you want to back that out, that's the first thing you say. The second thing you say is our first period has to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And Hellebuyck needs to step up and tell the team, like, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better to start. And then Scheifele's line's got to be better. Like,
Yeah.
right? So, like, to me, it boils down to, it's not the whole thing, but I think, like, the energy at Enterprise was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Like, Crew and I were in the alumni suite, and there's that glass that's above your head. And when they came out for the beginning of the game, I said, "Crew, stand up so you can, like, really," he goes, "I've never heard it this loud."
It's crazy.
And, like, you could, like, feel, and it was unbelievable. So even when he stood up, he could feel it even louder.
Yeah. Winnipeg's building's loud too.
Oh, yeah. That was smaller buildings, not as many people, but the start, I'm not going to say first 10 minutes, first 12 minutes, first 15 minutes, first period. The first period, the first of that's the most important.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if the Blues get down to nothing, they can't come back. But I'm saying Blues go down early, the temperature and everything in the building goes down.
Yeah.
The Blues go
Stress
up
level
early.
up, yeah.
Everything gets amplified, excited, nervousness on the other. Like,
Yeah.
so the start, however you want to define that, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, first period.
Yeah.
That's what I'm watching.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And, Hellebuyck, not to, he's got the crazy numbers to back it up. It's like really unbelievable. Like when 47 wins, 8 shutouts, save percentage through the roof, about to win his third Vezina, probably the Hart Trophy too. I mean, like everything screams generational player. And I'm just like, well, he's not Marty Brodeur. He's not Patrick Waugh. He's not Dominic Hasek. He's not Ed Belfour. Like, I don't think the Blues go into the series or the game feeling like they're at a deficiency in between the pipes. They probably feel like they're right there, if not have an advantage with Jordan Binnington as the goaltender. And if I'm Winnipeg, I just want to see Hellebuyck step up and truly have a moment in the playoffs, because that's how you define greatness in goaltending, right? You got to win in the playoffs. Right?
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but oh well. I equate it to how people have perceived over time.
He went to UMass Lowell, right? He didn't have a crazy,
I know, but think about how people in media and people perceive Lundqvist.
I got you, yeah.
Amazing goaltender. Went to the final twice. I know he won Olympic gold.
Sure.
He didn't win. Like, I'm sorry. I'll take Corey Crawford. He is a big game goalie that wins when it matters. Like, winning in the playoffs matters, right? Like, for me, Hellebuyck, yeah, he is not those goalies that you mentioned.
Jonathan Quick.
He's not. You got to win. You've got to win. I'm sorry. You have to win to get
goaltending. It's just that's how you define a generational goaltender, a greatness in goaltending.
You got to win. You got to win. You got to get to the final.
Have you ever seen a goalie get all this regular season hardware and not win in the playoffs?
No, but I think when's the last time a goalie won the Hart? Like
Maybe
win it?
I think he did, but
But
maybe, what's his name? What's his name in Montreal when they were
yeah,
8th
you're right.
seed?
This is not Hasek though.
French guy. Why am I forgetting his
Yeah,
name?
why am I? That's
He did our podcast. It was unbelievable.
It's not him.
He did win the Hart though.
It's not this.
No.
That's not what this is. Right? So maybe if he just stays,
He didn't have the moment in the Four Nations either, right?
he didn't.
So,
But like I said, the keys were is Thomas's line is going to have to outplay, Scheifele's line, and Binner's going to have to be better than Hellebuck.
Buchnevich only had 1 goal in 22 career playoff games coming into last night, and now he's got 4.
So you're saying I have more than him?
How many do you have?
I don't know, like 7.
Do you?
Who's counting?
How
Something around.
How many playoff games?
Like 65, 68, right around there.
It's the first time that Cam Fowler's been in the playoffs since like 2017, something like that.
I've always liked him.
Me too.
Great skater. If you can skate, you can play a long time.
Yeah. And Thomas had 4 assists, and it's like when you have 4 assists.
You know what we're not talking about? The young defenseman?
Broberg?
No.
Oh, Tucker?
Yes.
Yeah, he played great.
He was good.
Really good. And you know what? We'll wrap on this. The idea of playing Ryan Suter every game during the regular season, and he played really well, and he obviously had the injury to Parayko. You're not going to sit him there. He had the streak going. You want to be respectful to a veteran guy like that. Played over 1,500 games. But when he never sits, and then all of a sudden now you sit him for the first time in the playoffs, I think that's where, if I'm Monty, I'm like, oh, you guys, it would have helped me if you guys would have sat him at some point during the regular season too, since I don't have to go to him now for the first time in the playoffs and sit him now. But I think it's the absolute right decision. Like, it just looks like he's run out of gas a little bit, and they may have to turn back to him, and this is going to help him, having him sit out for a couple of games, even though he probably doesn't like it. But I do think seeing Monty do that, and, listen, they dressed 7D in the previous game, which reduced the ice time for the defensemen. I thought their forwards played too much, even though he wanted to get more ice time for the forwards. But against a heavy defensive group like Winnipeg, where every shift is a grind, I just think it's tough to play 23 minutes if you're Buchnevich and Thomas. And, even a guy like Snuggerud played over 20 minutes in game 2. And Parayko had under 20 minutes. He should be in that 22, 23-minute range. So I think 60 is the way to go. But I haven't seen a coach come through here who really would have, including Chief, who would sit a guy like Ryan Suter. I thought that was a ballsy play. And if you're all about putting the best players on the ice and the best roster together to help you win, that was the best decision. And that's not a decision a lot of head coaches would make.
It's not. I did think he showed him a tremendous amount of respect because he didn't have him do warm-up. I think the tactical thing would have been to have him do warm-up and not tip your hand to the Jets what you were doing. So I think that he respectfully didn't make him do warm-up to have to
funny you say that,
take his gear off.
Because he came I did an interview with Monty before the game, and we recorded it at like 7:15, and I went to his office, and I said, hey, can I ask you about Suter not playing? And he said, well, when's it going to air? He said, well, I'm not having him take warm-up, so don't ask me about it, because although they probably know what we're doing anyway, but they're going to watch warm-up, and they're going to see we only have 60 out there anyway. But it was going to air. We had an hour-long pregame show. It was going to air prior to warm-up starting. But I didn't think of it that way. You think that's a respect factor? Why?
I do. I think I've done it several times. Where
he could have gone out there and confused him. Like, he talked in pregame about what a great penalty killer he is and what all these different guys bring to the table.
Yes. It's just a little bit of gamesmanship that he chose not to use at the respect of Suter not having him take warm-up.
Okay.
Because I think that you could have made them wonder, like, what are they doing? Are they doing 11-7 again? Are they it could have messed with them a little bit. I think which I think would have been okay to have him take warm-up, but I think he chose to show him a little bit more respect.
They obviously have an issue with the 12th forward, which is why they went 11-7 to begin with. And, they didn't play Matthew Joseph, but they put in Texier last night, first time since March 27th. And his last couple games that he played in the regular season, he actually played really well, too.
Right.
What'd you think of his game last night?
I thought he was good.
Fine, huh?
He's good. He's managed the puck well. He's a big guy.
Skates.
Moves the puck well. Like, I'd like to see him get to the interior a little bit more, like get his nose a little bit dirtier. But he was good. I thought that, that's a tough position for him to be put in, to come in having not played for so long. But
Every time he comes in, he's been on the sideline for several weeks. So it's like, I think he's used to it.
yeah, that's not easy.
And he doesn't have a personality that I don't think that bothers him too much. He just comes and plays.
That's good. That's good.
He's played more playoff. He has more playoff experience than people realize. He's played like 18 playoff games, not a ton, but he was in a 5 overtime game for Columbus. He was on Columbus's team that swept Tampa Bay, who had, that historic regular season. So he's had some moments. Scored a couple of goals in that 4th game, I think, when they beat Tampa Bay.
You're gonna need guys coming in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good that he was ready, and it's a compliment to the organization, in my opinion, when guys who haven't played in a long time are able to come in and look good.
Mm-hmm.
That shows that the leadership in the room respects everyone, and makes everyone feel a part of it, so that the guy who isn't played in a month still is doing the necessary work, so that they're ready when their opportunity comes.
What's for dinner tonight, Jamal? Let's get down to business. Okay.
I know. I tell you. Well, Barlino's. They got 5 restaurants now, as you know. Barlino's South, Barlino's Osteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, Chris is at the Docket, and Barlino's Twin Oaks, the newest restaurant. They forge many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family motto: cook good food, serve plenty. 50+ years in business. Only 2 places to dine: at home or at one of Barlino's family restaurants.
Dobbs Tires and Auto Center is the only place to go when you need new tires, Jamal.
You know what? They've got so many different locations. You all know it's family owned, over 44 locations now, offering deals on anything that you drive, whether it's a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, EV. Dobbs has a team of experienced tire technicians and ASE certified associates to service them all. Go to Dobbs.com right now for more deals on winter tires or spring tires, whatever you want to do. I'm telling you, they always have great deals. They'll get you in, up, fixed, and out the same day.
No doubt. Of course, Blue Note Roofing, again, 314-920-5713. Our friends over at Lordo's Diamonds. Travel House. Listen, if you're looking to book a vacation, Travel House is the place to go. Call my girl Gail today over at Travel House. That's HAUS, www.travelhouse.com. Full service, 33 years they've been in business, Jamal, offering all destinations around the globe. Well-traveled, knowledgeable, friendly staff. Monday through Friday, they're open 9 to 6. Saturdays, they're open 10 to 2. Give them a call, 314-842-6000. Travel House. Call Gail today. And, of course, First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week, live from the Half Coast Studios. Get your son or daughter signed up for Little Blues. It's the best program going. Jamal, you know that. Exactly. All the kids come through Little Blues, man. And
it's the best program.
Well, because you get all your equipment.
What I love about it, but it's like 10 lessons.
Yes.
You don't have to like throw crazy amount of money at it.
I know.
Try hockey for less than $100.
See if they like it.
See if they like it. If they don't, my suggestion, I don't know if people do this, donate it back. Give the gear back. And that's okay. They tried it. They don't like it.
Right.
Didn't cost you less than $200. There you go.
Don't go spend thousands of dollars when you don't even know if your kid's going to like it.
Yes.
It's the best program going.
It's actually my biggest thing. The other organizations, I'll say it right here, right now. Let's bring back House League. Just play every Saturday, every Sunday, 1 day a week, no practice. Just come and play hockey, play a game.
They don't have that anymore.
It's like,
that's how everyone I know started in House League. That's how my first year of hockey was House League.
It's like now, it's like if you play hockey, it's like 3 times a week, 4 times a week. You got to have lessons.
You got to travel everywhere.
No, just what about just like a CYC, play once a week, maybe one practice.
That's what my kid does with like soccer and baseball.
Yes.
We have a baseball game tomorrow. It's a CYC. It's hard to play competitive sports, more than one competitive sport, because of the time commitment.
Yes. But I do recommend playing multiple. So keep doing the CYC.
Yeah.
Baseball, basketball, soccer.
The baseball coach wanted him to commit to like 80 games, and they were traveling and whatever. And it's like he does go out of town for hockey in the summer too.
Yes.
Which is why we took a break recently. Like, this is like the best time to do it because there's no break, even in the summertime. We're doing Jamal Mayers camp for 6 weeks during the summer.
You want him to get better?
I can't wait. Hey, I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So
you're going to learn about plyos. You're going to learn about Jumping, bounding, off ice, stick handling,
Yeah, because it's some
shooting,
off-ice stuff too, right?
off ice as well.
The Jammer and Joey camp. That's what Ty calls it.
STL Elite, baby.
Okay, looking forward to that. Good to see you as always, man.
You too.
All right, we'll see you later. Jamal Mayers, we thank Carlo Colaiacovo joining us as well on this edition of Hockey Sense. We'll do it again next week. We thank everybody here at Half Coast Studios. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the playoffs.